Go.
Hey everyone, this is Dimitro from SalesByte Agency, and today I'm excited to introduce Sean Smith from AMZ PPC Accelerator. Sean has been around Amazon PPC for many years, worked with many large accounts, and created one of the best and in-depth PPC private communities, which I'm a part of. Hey Sean, how are you doing today, and what have you been up to lately?
Yeah. I'm doing pretty good, man. It's a good day. Sun's out, so I'm doing all right. And what I've been, I mean, I had a baby, so that's been pretty big. And I always tell people like, what have you been up to? I've been spending time with family because it's the holidays, so I've been doing that. And then, for me, man, I'm one of those foundational type people where, I just do the same thing over and over again. It's work, work out, sleep, and just try to, that's it. And just rinse and repeat. So that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, man, that's really great with the baby. I'm really happy for you and sounds
Thanks, man.
amazing, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you are really an Amazon PPC OG because you've been around what, like since 2015 or maybe earlier?
7 years, man. So yeah, around 2015. Yeah. 2014, 2015. Yep.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. You've seen how the industry evolved.
Dude.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
dude. It's been insane. It's been cool, man. It's been special because I've been there, when it was nascent, when it was small and there were not a lot of people, the features were very limited. So it's really cool to be a part of something where you're at the beginning and now you're like really in a, when it's in a state of maturity and how it's changing over time. And also like, you know, being like having friends and people in the industry that I can talk to about it and learn from them about what's going on because it's evolving, man, and it's changing and it's definitely different than it used to be. Way different.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited to be a part of this industry. It's very fast evolving
Yep.
and, a lot of challenges, and this is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're having this call at the end of 2022. So,
Yep.
can you tell me what are your biggest insights in Amazon PPC this year? Was anything that shocked you, or you really learned something new, changed your views?
I think my biggest insight from 2022 was, you know, we have to re-engineer how we calculate Amazon advertising success. And what I mean by that is years ago, it was just so easy to launch campaigns, to launch products when the platform was a lot less competitive and when we weren't in a recession, right? Because they say that, a lot of financial institutions are saying that, Q1 of 2023 is going to be a recession. And we've really been, this year has been really rough, in terms of financial on the financial end of it. People aren't, what was inflation's up. So people they don't have discretionary funds. So what's happening is it's like you have to re-engineer how you do advertising and you have to see it. What we've really done, our biggest insight is, you really have to measure advertising's impact on the overall business compared to, before when, it was the golden age, you really didn't have to do as much of that work. So, my biggest insight, for this year is like, really focusing on how advertising impacts overall sales. That's the big one for me. And which ad types are most effective for that? You know what I mean? You might be in it, some people might say, you need to run sponsored products, sponsored display. But I've been in situations where you shouldn't run all of them. You know what I mean? Or you should run those ones at a very limited budget, sponsored brand. They should be a very small portion because sponsored products is what really drives rank to this day. So, really thinking about how you can link the advertising performance to the organic and being really more meticulous with your spend, not just spending, really dialing in things like PPC to organic ratio, tacos, trying to link those two. I think those are the big one. I think moving forward, it's going to be even more important because, the platform's not getting any younger, right? It's becoming more mature. And, the economy hasn't really shown signs of getting stronger right now on the Amazon US platform. At least that's where I mainly work. So you got to really be dialed in on profitability and real meticulous with your spend and being more conservative. That's how I think it is. And you just have to be like more of a sniper. It's like before it was just like kind of go out there and test it, but now it's got to be really dialed in. I think that's really the big one that I've seen this year, 2022.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. And this is something I've been doing with my clients, considering PPC spend to organic ratio. We make a
Yep.
lot of decisions based on that,
Yep.
and diving in on a SKU level
Yep.
to get that tacos data,
Yep.
to make those decisions as well. A lot of things that I learned from your program with segmentation, really good
Yes.
stuff. So totally agree on
Yep.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, and also Dimitro, you said AMZ PPC accelerator. Is it okay if I correct you and say PPC AMS accelerator?
Yeah, sure. But actually, I think I checked before the call, and I saw AMZ, and then I was pretty sure before it was AMS. So sorry, maybe it was my
No, it's
mix up.
okay. It's just my website's ppcamsaccelerator.com. So I like to use that one because you're right. The URL where you log in and stuff is AMZ PPC Accelerator. That's my bad, the
Oh,
discrepancy.
okay.
But yeah. I
Yeah,
just want
because
to make sure people know where to go.
okay, yeah, sorry, because I was like
No.
thinking, yeah, like you had those two names, AMS and AMZ, and they were just in my head.
No worries, dude. No worries,
Yeah,
man.
we will leave all the correct links down below so people will find it anyway.
Thanks, Dimitri. Appreciate it,
Yeah.
man. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, you and me are taking care of accounts on a higher level.
Yep.
But what about Amazon PPC for beginners? Advice for someone who's just starting with one or a few products, or maybe someone who just signed their first account for the management. What's your
Yeah.
advice to do, not to do?
Yeah, dude, that's a really good question. So basically, so this is kind of for someone who is a freelancer who got their first account and they're learning PPC. I think my biggest area of improvement, if I could go back in time and kind of, a lot of people do this, if you could go back in time to your younger self. So, for me, it was like I needed to learn more of the business end of things. So, I was one of those people that, my goal was like, hey, I want to serve my clients well and I want to do good for them, right? That was always kind of I always thought that was the way that you made success. Like you listen to your clients, you gave them what they want, and that was it. But it's way more sophisticated of a business model than that. It's not that simple. If it was, everyone would do it. So, anyone who just signed their first account needs to really do a couple of things. You need to learn PPC, right? You need to learn the technical aspect of it. You need to learn keyword research. You need to learn bid optimization, right? That's a no brainer. You got to learn the technical aspect. And that's, you need to find someone to listen to. So if you don't have money, then you just kind of YouTube it or whatever you need to do. If you do have money, you find a mentor or you find someone who's ahead of you that you can listen to help you develop that skill set a lot quicker. Because it really is a game changer when you find the right people to listen to. And then the other thing is, that's the technical aspect of it, doing the PPC. But then the business end of it is like, how do you communicate to the client? How often do you communicate to the client? How much are they paying you? Is that rate fair? How much are you working for the amount of money you're paid? Is this client the right fit? Did you sign them because you needed that money? or did you sign them because it was the right fit? It's okay to sign someone because you need the money. That's what we do when we're in the beginning. We're like, we'll take anyone, you take the abuse, and then you're not in a bad way, it's just you kind of take anyone because not everyone is a right fit for someone else. So in the beginning, that's what you do. You take on, clients and stuff like that. And then figure out are they the right fit? And setting up expectations as well, making sure you communicate with this client, like how often you're going to send them messages, how often you're going to report to them, and what that looks like, because it's a big missing link that I see the biggest gap in the consulting agency industry for Amazon advertising. That's the gap. The gap is they don't learn the business end of being a consultant and the business end of running an agency or being a freelancer. And there is a business part of it, right? Because I think a lot of people kind of fall into Amazon PPC either because mainly, most of the people that I know that ended up in PPC were because they were sellers and, they just kind of fell into it. And so, when you fall into it like that, you never learned how to run an agency. You never learned how to be a consultant. And there are so many blind spots. And, I ended up learning those skills, but if I could go back in time, I would have spent more time on those skills because I would have made more money. I would have been a lot less stressed. I just would have been more savvy. I think that's a big one, dude. You have to lose the business end of it. And something I've been doing a lot of research into is like performance psychology, like sports, learning from some people. And I think another thing is you have to have a lot of confidence, even if you're not, you're like, you have to be confident, even if you're new, because if you're new, you might be like, well, I'm still learning. A lot of people are like, I'm still learning. I kind of have to get results. I need to do this, that, or the other. You know, don't do that. Be more confident in who you are, man. I have a brain. I'm smart. I'm putting in the work. They're paying me and we have a mutual thing going on. I'm good at what I do. Let's do it. So, making sure you're confident, even if you don't, feel that way. Cause confidence is huge, man. It dictates how you feel on a daily basis. And, they say that humans don't, in sales psychology 101 is humans don't make decisions based on logic. They make it based on emotion. So that not only includes sales, that includes the entrepreneur themselves. When you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, these are my logical steps, you could be the most miserable person that makes the best logical decisions. But the quality of your life is the emotions that you feel when you wake up in the morning and you go to bed. So I think you got to nail down, I guess those are kind of three things. Like number one, you need to nail down your emotional strength and make sure that's strong. You need to nail down the business end of things, how to sell, how to work with clients, how to do contracts, reporting, communication. And then the third one is PPC skills. But, most people, what they do is they focus on the PPC skills 100%, and they focus on the sales, the business end of it 0, and they focus on the emotional fortitude 0. And, it's going to be a rough going because then your confidence is dictated by a client. And if your confidence is dictated by your client, then when you get a bad client, it's going to eat up a lot of energy.
Yeah, man, so many things that I agree with. And especially when you said that a lot of PPC managers are ex-sellers. Well, this was kind of my story. I started
Yeah.
selling about 5 years ago and obviously didn't have the knowledge back in the day. But I didn't learn about PPC. My product failed, but I met my future partner at that time on Facebook, who had like only, I think, 1 or 2 products at that time. And I helped him with PPC and then started helping more. And
Yep.
we scaled the brand, launched a few dozen products. And I really learned a lot on like our account with the PPC. And then, yeah, like when you said, I went to learn on YouTube, there wasn't a lot of resources back in the day, but yeah, whatever I
Yeah.
could find and then test it. And then, yeah, I found other clients. And when I was ready, when I had the finance and when I had like the basics, that's
Yeah.
when I reached you because like
Yeah. Yeah.
your program is, I mean, I guess, like a complete beginner can start it, but I think
Exactly.
it really
It makes you
requires.
advanced so quickly.
Yeah.
That's what I always tell people. People would be like, everyone tells me your program's really advanced, but honestly, it's broken down so well that a newbie could come in and learn that stuff and be an expert within a few weeks, to be honest. Because it's not only gives you the systems, but it teaches you the why behind everything, which is cool.
Yeah, at the same time, a lot like is to testing. You gotta test things. So maybe not an expert in a week, but at two at least.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it shortens the curve. You know what I mean? It just makes you better. And really, like, you might not know why everything's happening, but if you just implement the systems, you'll get results, and then you'll learn why after you do it several times. Kind of vibe.
Yeah, yeah, sure, man. Well, another big topic this year is Amazon PPC Dayparting, and I know we
Uh,
talked about it
yeah.
before. So tell me, what is your experience with it? And most importantly, is how do you determine the best time of the day for performance? How do you analyze it?
Yeah, yeah. So, day parting is definitely a more advanced thing to do. And, it just depends on your account. I really I fell into day parting. It wasn't something that I really pursued, or I've tested it before and I didn't get real astounding results. I still don't think personally, I don't think it's a huge game change. I think it depends on it depends on what the client wants. And if they see if they see the results and go, yeah, well, then that's a game changer, right? So, um, the way we did it on one account, like, really the goal with this account was to increase profitability. That was like the number one goal. And he ended up doing a lot of the research. The cool thing is, in business reports you can pull number of units by hour. You can't do it by SKU, but you can do it at the account level by hour. And
All
we
right.
really saw that during the evening, a huge slowdown in sales. So we determined from, you know this time in the evening to this time in the morning, we should just pause all campaigns, just pause all of them. And it did help with profitability. It did slow down sales, but it helped with profitability a ton because we were only running ads during high converting times. And I actually I worked on an account where we did day parting, where we did morning campaigns, and then we copied those into evening. They're like pretty much the same campaigns, right? Same bid, same keywords. We saw the morning campaign conversion rate was way higher than the evening campaign conversion rate. So, it's one of those things where it like it you can see in the data that we saw a lower conversion rate. So, how do you determine? What I would do is go to your business report, download, or if there's a software that can pull units per hour or something like that, and really look at, you sit in the data, get some benchmark data. You figure out, hey man, during these time periods we decrease sales by 30-40%. I wonder if we pause campaigns and unpause them, if that would help with profitability. You might see a slowdown in sales, but you want to measure. So so profitability, that's why we measure profitability, because we know we're going to see a slowdown in sales, right? Because we're turning off ads during those time periods. So we wanted to measure profit. So, really looking at your sales velocity by hour and figuring out, hey, maybe we should try pausing them during this time period. Um, or even creating like morning and evening versions of campaigns to see how they perform. And you don't necessarily have to pause all campaigns. What you could do is maybe take your, highest performers, since the evening will be a lot lower converting. You could take your highest converting campaigns overall and run them morning and night, and then pause your, less performing campaigns that you want to keep running. That's an alternative way to do it. So that's kind of how we've done day parting, and we built a tool with our software to do it. And it's something that, like, I think if you do pursue it, make sure you measure all the outcomes. You got to figure out what you want to measure and how to measure it. And that's going to determine whether or not it does well for you. It's worth a test, man. And it's worth, trying out, because you might see good results. And I think right now, especially since, most Amazon businesses are struggling, man. So they're really looking for alternative things to test. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but when when and this is the state of the market for agencies, is like when the platform's doing great, they're not coming to you and asking you questions. They're letting you do your thing. But when things aren't going so well, like right now, they're like, hey man, what's going on here? What's going on there? What's going on there? So, we have to adapt to the environment, because that's life, man. When you're doing well and you're making money, you can just 80-20 focus on the big picture. But when things aren't doing well, you start asking questions. Hey man, what's going on here? What's going on there? Because you start you freak out. You start to, so, clients are in that state, and, it's not their fault. It's the state of the global economy, and it's affecting their businesses. So, testing new things and really like measuring outcomes and really being meticulous with it is going to be what I think delineates. I think profitability and it being detailed is going to really delineate people kind of in the agency world. Because right now, since we're in a consolidation period, clients are asking more questions and they're real more meticulous with things than before, because they're worried. That's what happens when you're worried.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like you said, the economy is tough right now. A lot of brands are not doing that well. And by
Yep.
trying to implement these new strategies, to save a few bucks for the client, that's really something we should be focused on. Or like, when we reach the complete potential with Amazon PPC. I guess it can happen on some accounts with some products, like we covered all the keywords. So then we like should, I guess, aggressively start sponsored display, try and traffic of other. No, that's
Depends.
my
It depends, man. It depends. It always depends. It's like, maybe it's like you do maybe some display, maybe some brands, but I mean, even to this day, man, sponsored products is still the king, man. And if you want to be lean as all get out, really keep your sponsored products dialed in. And you can add those on, but don't spend a lot of time on those, because they don't provide the biggest return. And the spend, Amazon really pushes sponsored display this year, and DSP and all that stuff. But man, I've seen those results on organic, and it's not really favorable in my opinion. And you said, Dimitri, you said, when you get to a point where you've reached the cap on sponsored products, I don't ever think like that, man. I always think there's more, man, because there's always more, man. What's the difference between Michael Jordan and player whatever is that they get to that threshold and they go, man, like, I think I'm at the top. But the best go like, there's no way I'm at the top. There's no way, because there is no top. So there's always more, man. I have accounts I've been with for 5 years, and I'm finding new keywords that I had never seen before. The top is, and I think that sometimes I've done this too, is when you're providing a service, you think you have to keep providing these big wins. So you're like, oh, I launched these campaigns, or I did this or that. But I'll tell my clients, I'm like, dude, I'm doing long tail keyword research. This is meticulous. This is going to take hours. You might not see these results for a while, but you know what? If you want to win, when your account, when you've covered all the keywords, like you said, Dimitro, you've really grown it, dude, it's incremental from there. It's inches. It's like, I was listening to podcast, and he talked about Michael Phelps, and he said that, Michael Phelps, they were talking about like shaving time off of he's Mike. For those that don't know, Michael Phelps is like the best swimmer in the world. He's the most decorated Olympic swimmer in the world. And I think they were saying like, how long does it take you to shave off 3 seconds? Or, do you work really hard to shave off 3 seconds? He says, it'll take me 3 or 4 months to shave off 0.01 second. So, that's the differentiator, is like, and the thing is, you got to communicate that to your clients. You got to communicate, hey, we're looking for 0.01 right now. You can blow accounts up and do well, but when we are established with accounts, you have to really communicate to them and drive home that, hey, we're living in the 0.01 zone right now. We've covered everything, so I think that that's kind of my approach. And I think that helps with client retention because, and you can always use the Michael Jordan, the Michael Phelps or whoever, whatever athlete or whatever you want to do there. But yeah, man, the best don't look for those big jumps. They look for little stuff. And then when they get a big jump, they're like, sweet, awesome. But they're just like grinding it out on little stuff.
Yeah, man, that's for sure. And maybe I didn't say it like the right way, like reach the limit with the keywords. What I meant is like, there are some accounts when I
Yep.
take them over, I'll be like creating 50 campaigns a week, 100 campaigns a week. But some
Yep.
accounts that I've been working for years, the niche is not that big. And
Yep.
um yeah, like I have the research campaigns, and yes, there are like new keywords that are being created, or they are growing in search volume year to year. So you will
Yep.
be picking up those. And the thing where you mentioned like inch by inch, yeah, that's a great strategy. And that's why I started about sponsored display. This is something that a lot of clients don't understand, and a lot of managers, I guess, can't communicate.
Yeah.
And again, like you mentioned, Amazon been pushing those sponsored displays, so I've been getting more of those talks like, "Oh, Dimitro,
Yes.
let's try more of those. Let's try more of those." And yeah, like it's important to communicate to the client that inch by inch method and all of that. But at the same time, I've been trying sponsored display years before, and usually, yeah, they wouldn't work well. But these days, I've been really like diving deep, like
Yeah.
segmenting
Yeah.
campaigns, like really like segmenting, like very, very detailed by niche, like by
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
whatever settings Amazon allows, because it's really a lot of stuff right now.
It is.
And I
Yep.
am I am seeing some good results. Not always, but
Yep.
if we can get something out of sponsored display, maybe we should be adding it to our accounts. But at the same time, what you've been mentioning about economics and all of that, from what I heard, sponsored display, they are not attributing a lot to organic ranking. So even like we might be getting decent sales at decent ACOS, but it's like not really helping with moving our product up. So
Yeah.
have to
Always
consider that as
depends.
well. Yeah, it's
At least
always
on my end,
depends.
I always say it always depends, man. Always depends.
Yeah, and like recently they added ability to target videos on sponsored display. They
Yep.
added a whole bunch of new metrics, and Amazon announced that they will introduce this app, not app, I think it's called Inspire. So it will be like in the Amazon shopping app, and it will be kind of like TikTok, Instagram Reels style shopping
Yep.
feed.
Huh.
So I was actually thinking about creating a post just like a few weeks ago, a post where like I would imagine what Amazon would look like if they made like this shopping feed, kind of like TikTok, because they've
Yep.
been introducing more video placements and all of that.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's my other question. How about sponsored brands videos? Are you seeing some success with those? And have you tried the new video builder that Amazon introduced? Because I think you can get like really custom there
Yeah.
and like make those short videos align with the keywords you're targeting, because I think it's like really important.
Yeah. Yeah. So sponsored brands video is one of those things where, I started sponsored brands video before it was even available. Like what they used to do was, so this is how it was back in the day. You would Amazon would contact you and they would give you access to sponsored brands video. They would build the campaigns and you would have to sign a contract for a certain amount. This was back in the day. And they were only on iOS. So this was back in the day. They were awesome. They were so good. They were amazing. It was just, awesome. These days, they're more competitive than they used to be for sure. I'm actually seeing a lot of instances where, sponsored brands video for keywords, their bid is a lot higher than for sponsored products. And so, I think that sponsored brands video, it's hard, man. I don't want to sound like contradictory or whatever, but like I'm just results, right? Like I'm just a huge results guy. And all I care about, I'm a big numbers person. That's what, this is how I operate, or I try to. And sponsored brand video I think is cool. Um, but it's all about results, man. What results is it getting? Like, I think that, you know, there's like this, my mentor taught me this. We have a tendency to like really like get caught up in features, like any new features. But it's like what, figuring out foundationally what works and what doesn't. I don't mind testing things, dude. I test stuff all the time. I do it all the time, right? But until it has a significant data set to prove itself out. But yeah, I'm getting on a tangent here. Sponsored brands video, it's cool, man. It's cool. We use it. We use it for all of our brands. We just make sure it's a small percentage of what we do. And it really depends on the market. Sponsored brands video is a lot more competitive than it used to be because they do have more placements, but there are nowhere near as many placements for sponsored brands video as sponsored products. And I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons it's so expensive. It's super expensive. It can be super expensive. So we run it. And actually, like, now that I'm thinking about it, man, some of my results for sponsored brands video are pretty dang amazing. So I think it depends on the market. And I'll be honest, I don't spend a lot of time on it because it doesn't contribute to rank as much in sponsored products. And my philosophy is like, the amount of time that I should spend on an ad type is directly proportionate to the amount of results that it gets for my client. So, I might not have the time to test all these things because I'm like, dude, sponsored products is like I need to do more with sponsored products because there are more features. Like we've been rolling out this new category targeting that we've been doing that's absolutely doing amazing. And there's so many little things you can do with sponsored products. So I say run sponsored brands video. I think you should. I just say, monitor the results and do all that stuff. And I don't know, like, I don't know. And the thing is, like, I always go back to like organic rank and its impact on organic. And the only reason I do that is because of the economy. So I have to shift my mind to where my clients and the businesses need to go. So, it's like sponsored brands video, we do run it, we do test it, and it does work pretty well, actually. So we just keep it rolling. We just make sure that it's a fraction of the percentage of, so it gets a percentage of what we do for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's for sure. Sponsored brands videos can bring some great results. And I think the
Yep.
main factor for them being so expensive is because, yeah, like their mostly placement is like top of search.
Yeah.
They do get like the rest of search or whatever placements or like product page placements, but it's really the majority is top of search and or
Yep.
like middle of the page.
So it's a small,
Yeah,
small supply with a lot of demand. So that's
yeah,
what drives up the auction. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And another super important factor is uh when like client gives you a creative or a video to target, it might not necessarily be optimized, because you might be
I know.
targeting for many keywords, but the video might be relevant only for a part of them. So
Yes.
I've been seeing some good results with
With
videos,
aligning
but
the creative and the keywords.
yeah, or
That's
like
cool.
when we are giving the creativity, like I have a team and I have guys who can do the editing. So when the client gives us freedom, often we can like chop up the video into
Oh,
pieces
cool.
and make multiple versions. Yeah, and then test them, and some of them will perform better than the original.
Yep.
And
That's cool, man. That's really cool.
and sometimes clients, when they shoot the original video, it might be like a product page video, but not ideal for video ads. That's something else I'm trying to cover. I have some great partnerships with studios all over the world,
Cool.
and we try to help our clients with videos, with photos.
Cool.
Because we have the expertise in the ads, we can do the keyword research prior, filming the video, and
Yeah.
then it makes a big difference. Kind
That's
of
cool,
like,
man.
the conversation we had before recording about the keyword research for YouTube videos. That's like kind
Yep.
of the same idea for
Yeah,
video
yeah.
ads.
You're ahead of the game, Dimitro. You're ahead of the game, man. That's
I'm
awesome.
I'm trying, man. Yeah, I'm really excited about Amazon PPC, but just like the whole brand building, the whole evolvement is really exciting for me as well.
Yeah, you definitely do more than I do for sure.
Yeah, but
I'm
that's okay. That's okay. You're laser
That's okay.
focused on your thing, on your PPC, on your coaching. And that's the approach I intentionally took. Originally, I only thought about strictly PPC as well. But then the more I worked, the more I realized it's also important that we
It
work with
is.
creatives.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Dimitro, it's all about how you position it. It's all about how you position yourself in the market. You know what I mean? Like a guy can do just PPC and, a person can do just that or the other. That goes back to the business end of it, the sales end of it. You know what I mean? So positioning is huge, man. Sales and positioning is huge. It's like, if you want to do creatives, you can do that. And if you don't want to do creatives, you can do that. It's all how you position it and whether or not you get results for people. Really like, I just don't think there are a lot of rules for it. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, one person needs to do this or that. It's like, are you good at positioning yourself in the market as someone who can get the results? And that's it. Like when I zoom out in this industry, and I think of my business, like it's so easy to get caught up in, oh, maybe I should be offering doing this or that. It's so easy. But for me, I always try to zoom out and ask, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? And then how do I position myself doing that? Like, because this is at the end of the day, it's just a business. That's all it is. Like, it's so easy to get caught up in the weeds, but I always try to zoom out. This is just a business to me. And if this didn't want to exist, I'd go get another one. You know what I mean? That's all it is to me. I have to keep that perspective because that gives me confidence that I can do what I need to do if something, you know what I mean? So I always try to zoom out a little bit because it just keeps the perspective a little bit.
Yeah, man. And like my goal is to start another brand, like a new one. And I really want to use all this knowledge, like maybe even in a few years,
Yep.
after I'll get even more experience, I want to start like this ultimate brand from scratch with all the knowledge. So that's why it is exciting for me. And I want to do all of these things because I have this, greater plan for later, and I will use all of this.
Exactly, man. And that's the beauty of this industry is you get to pick your path and go on it. I get to pick my path and go on it. And like that's what people want in life. They want to be able to choose their own path. You know what I mean? They want to get to a point where they say, you know what, I want to do this and I want to have the freedom to do this. And so that's kind of what entrepreneurship is about, to kind of build your own path and be, have freedom in that. You have to work like crazy because that's just entrepreneur life, but you work so that you get that reward. That's what it is, man. That's, any, whether you're agency, freelancer, or Amazon brand owner, that's what people want. A lot of people, most people.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, Sean. Honestly, I had lots of other questions, but we would probably go on for hours. I think we should definitely do another
Sure.
session sometime early this year, but I'll get one more question for today.
Do it.
So this year was important also because we got the bulk files update, bulk files 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah, so
Sure.
how's your experience with that? How are you liking it? Because we do a lot of things in bulk files. That's what you teach, and that's the method I found, really working
It's
well,
the most
better than
flexible.
yeah,
It's the
better
most
than
flexible.
software. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I've always really been an advocate of bulk files. I still am. I even have a software, you know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah,
still a
yeah.
huge bulk file guy because because so when we switched from bulk file to 2.0, I went and read through all the documentation, every single line, because that's that's my mindset, man. I want to be the best at what I do. And so to do that, you have to be meticulous, right? And so when they rolled out all the documentation, I read through all of it because I just wanted to get an understanding of it. It took me a few hours to read through it. And I just wanted to know what the reasons why they did it and all these different things. So I like it. I think that we love it. I think it's cool. I think I didn't like it at first, but that's because it was change. What was really cool is the reason they changed it was to maintain parity with the API. So basically, the reason they changed the format of the bulk file is so that it's closer to the API, which allows it to be more functional as an object. They put more software or coding practices into the bulk file. So I was like, that's pretty cool. I love it, man. I think that we had to rebuild some systems for it for sure. But it allows us to build like sponsored brands video, sponsored display. I just wish that they would integrate ways to put creative in there a little easier because if Amazon really wants to make bulk files really useful, make it to where we can insert creative because you're really pushing creative, but you're not integrating it into those bulk files because those bulk files are awesome. They allow you to scale, they allow you to manipulate data. And honestly, I've been using bulk files for reporting. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a great way to do reporting because, and what's really nice is if you use bulk files a lot, like one thing to note is that like, if you pull a bulk file, you look at campaign manager, you look at search term report, you look at advertised product report, they're all going to show you different stuff. So since I work with bulk files on the optimization method, it makes sense for me to use it for reporting as well. That way I have one consistent data set. So we've been using it for that. And I like it. I like it a lot. I've always liked bulk files. And I like the reason I do like it a lot is that like, with the software, and I even own a software, so this might not be good marketing or whatever, but with the software, you have to kind of like live within the realm of the software provider. And some of these softwares are super confusing. They don't know how to measure outcomes. They don't do a lot of outcome measurement. It's just features. It's just features. But in my business, I don't get paid for features. I get paid for results, man. So, bulk files are nice because they're super flexible, so flexible. And that flexibility allows you to stay ahead of the game because you can build systems that have layers. Like, you might have one optimization method for this SKU, one for that SKU. You might have one for this keyword, one for that keyword. The flexibility is insane, man. I absolutely love bulk files. So I'm loving it. I've been playing around with creating like sponsored display campaigns, and little stuff like Amazon rolled out like an expanded ASIN feature for product targeting. So, learning the, ASIN hyphen expanded and learning how to build campaigns doing that. So just keeping up on those little details that happen in the spreadsheet. But yeah, dude, I've always been a really advocate of bulk files because of the flexibility. They just really allow you to do things that, like manipulate data in a way that's really unique, I think.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, bulk files are king. And yeah, about your
Bulk
software,
files are king.
yeah, I, I made a post in the group recently that I've been using more of that auto campaign creation feature in your tool.
Yeah, dude.
Because yeah, I'm trying
By match
to
type or
scale.
by match
Yeah,
type by yep.
yeah. Yeah, that's really neat, man. I can do this with bulk files really fast. I have the templates, the dummy campaigns
Yep.
where you just insert the SKUs and upload the
Yep.
file. But yeah,
Yeah,
I find that, yeah, it's really nice. One push of a button, and in a few minutes, I got those campaigns. So
dude.
yeah, can help out when you need it. But again, it's not like automation or anything, just really like, you know, nice
It's
tool.
it's like we're in the game of, at least from my perspective, we're in the business of figuring out like like let's say you build campaigns in a bulk file, like that's 6 steps, and then you find a software that does the same thing, that's 1 step. We're in the game of those optimizations because you're getting the same result with less effort. That's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for those little efficiencies to make our systems more effective. That's kind of how I imagine that, I would want to run my agency, right? Hey, how do we go from 6 steps to 3 steps? Because when you magnify that, the amount of what you can do is exponential.
Yeah, man. And like you mentioned, you went and read that the bulk sheets data on Amazon. I did that as well, but honestly, I feel like I need to go over it a few more times. And I was
Few
like,
more
damn,
times, man. Me
yeah,
too.
I have to print all of those sections and like make sticky notes around my room or something, you know? And
Yeah.
yeah, I've been diving into that API lately, man, because again, going back to our conversation about organic PPC ratio, considering that, I hired the company. Maybe you saw my stories on
I did. I
Instagram
saw it
before that. Like,
today. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so I hired the company, and basically what they did, they built me this Google Data Studio on steroids, and they are streaming
Funny.
Amazon data from the account through API. And it got almost everything like organic sales, PPC sales, campaigns, keywords. So like I don't have to, download like to check, organic and PPC sales. You have to download multiple reports, right?
Yep.
But in my
Yep.
dashboard, it's like again,
Pulls
it's
it.
just yeah, Google data analytics, but yeah, it pulls the data with API.
That's
And
awesome.
I really worked with this company on it. There were so many things we had to find ways around because
Got to be
they
patient when you work with the API.
yeah,
Mm.
they did work with similar projects before, but they said I have like the most in-depth metrics requirements because I'm
Cool.
really I asked them like give me everything on the SKU level, give me
Yeah.
everything on each like campaign type level, and there is
Yeah.
this problem where for some reason Amazon is not allowing to stream sponsored brands data through the
Gotcha.
API. Yeah,
Yep.
so we had to change the plans a little bit, find some, ways around.
Workaround. Yep.
Yeah, but we're almost done, and I think this will be a great solution for analytics, like for checking the how the account is going. Again,
That's awesome.
PPC, organic ratio, plus
Yep.
client reporting, plus for the managers.
That's
So
awesome, dude.
yeah.
I know a lot of people are going to want that, man. A lot of people are going to want
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I know some agencies offer something like that, but again, what my developers told me, because they specify in Amazon reporting, so they had clients before, but they said I'm the most in-depth guy, so hope this will be my advantage.
I hope, dude, it sounds like, I mean, that's what, when you think about, I know I'm like on this whole like athlete tip, but I just been listening to this Tim Grover guy a lot, and he trained Michael Jordan. And that's what they do, right? They really get into those details, man. They really fine tune things. That's where the advantages lie, I feel like. In the beginning, it's all about learning kind of like the bigger picture, that. But when you're becoming like an expert, it's really those granular stuffs that get you there.
Yeah, man, 2 years ago, I couldn't even imagine I would be like working on this dashboard, streaming data through API. I mean, it's not like rocket science, but for me, at the level a few years ago, when I was like working through Campaign Manager,
Yeah, yeah, dude.
I'm
It's true,
ashamed of
man.
that today, but those days
Uh,
are gone.
dude, yeah, yeah, yeah. That you're funny, man. You're funny. That's
Yeah,
so funny.
well, yeah, Sean, thank you very much for joining me. I think this was a great talk. I hope people who watch this were able to learn a lot.
Yep.
And I will leave the links to you down below. So if anyone is
Thanks, man.
interested in your coaching, or if anyone wants to talk about Amazon PPC, they can also talk to me. So
Love it.
yeah, man.
Love it. Love it.
Thanks so much, Sean. And we should do the session sometime next year early.
Hit me up, man. Hit me up.